Greetings and salutations, and thank you for clicking on the video. Got several things I want to talk about in this video. I want to talk about a film called The Circle, which I saw tonight. I also want to talk about a video that Brian Lunduke posted, and I want to talk about Ubuntu 17.10. So let's start out with this particular movie. I'm a film buff. I don't talk about it much because it really doesn't come up when we're talking about Linux. And I have followed Tom Hanks's films probably since Joe versus the Volcano. So we were looking for something to watch on television tonight, and we happened to come across this, which was available on demand. And it's a movie called The Circle, and Tom Hanks is in the movie. And I didn't know anything about it when I sat down to look at it, and I was really shocked because what it's about is something that we talk about a lot here in the Linux community all the time, which is privacy, how much data large corporations are collecting from you and what they're doing with that data and where it's going and all that stuff. And this particular movie, I won't give away any of the plot, it kind of takes it to the next level as far as what happens at this large corporation called The Circle, which kind of reminded me of a cross between Google and Apple. If you took both of them, you kind of smushed them together, this is what you'd come up with, is this company called The Circle. And it's very interesting to watch. And if you have not seen it, and if you are a person who is into technology and you are concerned about privacy and concerned about what is happening on the internet, this is something to watch. And it's also a great film to watch with somebody who doesn't really understand all of this stuff. You know, I've been doing this for quite some time, and I talk about this all the time with people all over the world because Linux and the concept of internet freedom and privacy, they kind of go hand in hand since Linux is an open source technology. So a lot of people that I talk to are into this sort of thing. And so I was watching this with Cindy, who is my fiance and my companion and my friend, and she really got a kick out of this thing because I think it showed her what I was talking about, because my family doesn't really know what I do. They don't know what I talk about. They know that I do stuff with people who want to get started with Linux and all that sort of thing. And they know that everybody in this house has a computer of their own that runs Linux, but beyond that, they don't really know the ins and outs and the ups and downs. And so it was really interesting to watch her reactions to this movie. And if you want to educate somebody about what's going on in the world of technology, this is a good movie to tell them to go watch. The story is not exactly, I don't want to use the word accurate, but it's the next level of what the technology could do. The technology to do what they are talking about in the movie exists. We have it. It's already here. This is just if you take that same technology and apply it on a much scarier level. So it's definitely worth checking out. It's called The Circle. And I found it very ironic, too, because earlier today, Brian Lunduke, who is a Linux guru that I have been following for many years, posted this video called "It's Time to Break Up Google," where he quotes a lot of statistics about Google, and you'll have to watch his video. Now, I don't know how long it's going to be up there, to tell you the truth, because Google might just take his YouTube channel away. It could very well happen over this video, but it's definitely worth watching because the statistics that he quotes and the things that he talks about, they're a little bit alarming when you think about the big Google and how much control they have over their, everybody's life. And so, anyway, definitely well worth watching. It seems that Mr. Lunduke has had the same issues that I posted videos about not too long ago, about certain videos not getting the proper monetization and being considered inappropriate for all ads or some ads. And of course I posted a video about that. That video, by the way, has gotten a lot of views, and I'm kind of sad about that because in the video I kind of made it sort of sound like that I was going to maybe stop posting YouTube videos or something like that. And the truth of the matter is that I have no intention of stop posting YouTube videos. I ain't going to do that. It's just that in the video I was bemoaning the fact that they were saying that certain videos that I posted were inappropriate, when I try very hard to keep my videos very appropriate. So there you go. Now, this monetization thing about these videos, I want to talk a little bit more about that because, you know, I stated in a follow-up video to the video that I posted called Ubuntu, or not Ubuntu, but Google is screwing us again. That was a great title, wasn't it? You know, clickbait from hell on that one. You know, I'll own it. Absolutely. But anyway, that video's gotten a lot of views. And in the follow-up to that video, I said that this was not a job for me. It's not a job for me. If this was a job for me, I wouldn't do it, because there's not enough money that comes in from any source to warrant the amount of time that I commit to talking to people, working with people. I mean, a good chunk of my day is spent absorbing content of one sort or another and going through emails and messages from people all over the world. And so it's like, if I worked it out to how much money I made off of it hourly, it would be in pennies. But it is not an insignificant chunk of change that I get from Google. And it helps to make ends meet around here. And if this YouTube channel goes poof tomorrow, or they decide that they're not going to allow me to monetize videos, that's going to be a big hurt on me. And I think it would be a hurt on Brian as well. And I think it'd be a hurt on a lot of other creators. And the point that I did not make in those last two videos where I spoke on this subject was that it is not particularly fair for Google to put on to the creator what is and what is not appropriate for advertising. And I spent most of my adult life working in regular old media, radio and television. And it is the advertiser's job and the person who is, you know, managing the content that they're having ads put onto to decide what is appropriate for what advertiser. Now, one of the statistics that Mr. Lunduke put in here was the fact that Google is dealing with 300 hours of video being uploaded to YouTube every minute of every day. And so therefore, they really don't have time to go through the content of these videos and then list them for what advertisers might be interested in it. But it would make more sense if they, of course, would do more research on how to do that instead of throwing this down on us and going, well, we're not going to monetize your videos because we find them inappropriate. There are advertisers out there that will advertise on anything. It doesn't matter what language is used, whatever. If they choose to do that, why don't we make it so the advertiser can choose? That sort of thing. But that is really hard for Google to do, because Google is actually, even though it's got this huge influence over the world, as far as how many people work for Google, it's actually a small number. It's run mostly by big robots. And these big robots are making these arbitrary decisions. Of course, Brian goes into maybe they're not, and of course that's the thing here. You can go watch Brian's video, and no, I'm not putting a link to it, because I'm telling you, man, you got to watch this video. Just do a search on YouTube for It's Time to Break Up Google and Lunduke Show, and it'll pop right up. You can see the title right there, but I'm not putting a link in it because they might just take Brian completely off for posting the thing in the first place. I don't want to be associated with that, sorry, but I would like you to see it while it's there. Anyway, the point of it is that Google just does not have the resources to know what's in the content that's being posted, and they leave it to robots, and these robots are making arbitrary decisions which affect people in a big way. And you know, they make billions and billions and billions of dollars. They're making money off this video that you're watching right now because I'm allowing them to put ads in it. And so therefore, my thing about it is I just want my cut. I just want whatever I'm entitled to. And I don't want somebody messing with it. And as far as what you'd consider to be appropriate for advertising, that's not my problem. I try and keep my videos appropriate for all audiences. And so therefore, you know, you need to figure out what is appropriate and what's inappropriate for your advertisers. So usually the ads that come up with my videos are tech related in some way. But I did have one person tell me not too long ago that a condom ad came up before one of my videos, and I was just sitting there going, Okay, how does that tie in with Linux? I don't get it. Anyway, so do check out this movie called The Circle. It was really cool. It helps you to think, and it's well done, and it's Tom Hanks, and I like Tom Hanks. And then they have Emma Watson in here, who played Hermione in all the Harry Potter movies. So if you're into that, she's really good. It's a well done film, and it is kid friendly to an extent, maybe PG-13. They talk about some things in there, and there's some things that the little ones might not want to see, or you might not want them to see. Let's put it that way. Okay, let's move on from that, and let's talk a little bit about, ta-da, Ubuntu 17.10. This is the daily build. We're not too far away from getting to beta, as far as I know, but I don't know the dates on this. This is what it looks like. I installed it and put it on a virtual machine, and it is running, and this is what it does. Now, I actually had some software open. It does not take up 928 megabytes of memory when it first boots up. Well, I'll show you what that is in a second here. But the first thing I wanted to do was kind of show you the desktop. Yes, this is the GNOME 3 desktop, and that's what the big deal is here, is because this is the first Ubuntu in 6 or 7 years that is shipped with the GNOME desktop by default. The last time Ubuntu shipped with the GNOME desktop, it was GNOME 2, and then of course we went into Unity. Well, they have decided that they're not going to be working on Unity anymore. That happened in April, so they have been focusing their attention on GNOME yet again. And all of this good work that Canonical is doing to develop this desktop is being sent right upstream back to the GNOME project. And so anything that Canonical does in their development of Ubuntu 17.10, if they come up with something really cool, it will benefit everybody who runs Linux that has GNOME on their system, even if their distribution is not Ubuntu. So it's very cool. Now, I don't know a great deal about this system at this point in time. I literally just installed it. I can tell you that it installed well, and I had no issues. There were no problems. And one of the things about this that I'm going to show you, this thing boots up quicker than anything I've ever installed in a virtual machine. So we just got the splash screen there for VirtualBox, and we're loading the operating system, and now you will see that it's checking the hard drive for errors. It checked it. I got a few little things that popped up there. Hopefully that won't slow things down. And boom, there is the login screen. Now, to give you guys some benchmark data on that, this is a virtual machine which is running on a spinning hard drive. It's a 7200 RPM Western Digital Caviar Black 1 GB drive, and that's where the virtual machines live, and that's how quick it booted. And I'm also capturing video, and this isn't the only virtual machine that's running on this computer. This thing is lightning fast when it boots. Now, one of the things I want to show you real quick here is that when you come in, you actually have a choice between Ubuntu and Ubuntu on Xorg. So this is running Wayland. I have not installed the VirtualBox drivers from the VirtualBox disk at all, because I'm afraid that'll mess this up. I'm not doing anything to it. The only reason I have this in here is to just watch it, play with it, and when I read about new features and stuff like that, I can actually go check them out when they come in. So I don't know a great deal about this yet. I can tell you that it is a little bit different. So let's check that memory status thing. We'll just open up HTOP here. And first boot, it's like 755 megabytes for the desktop alone, which is actually a little bit lighter weight than what I've got going with GNOME 3 on Ubuntu 16.04, which is what the host machine is running here, and I'm running the GNOME desktop. So yeah, it's a little bit more lightweight. And let's see, what else can I show you real quick? Just this is what it looks like. Yeah, go ahead and close the terminal, because I want to show you the settings, and this is what it looks like. One of the things I noticed was that the GNOME tweak tool was not installed, and so I had to go into the software application and go get it. So you guys that have been following my videos already know what all this looks like. Now, I don't know how much of this is going to work right now, because we're in an alpha stage, man. We're not even at beta yet. This is just a daily build. They're still working on this. So, you know, pretty much everything that I've clicked on has been functional. Now, one thing I did do was I took and uninstalled Firefox, put Chrome in here, just because I use Chrome. Let's see. Anyway, you get the idea. I'm not going to go into great detail here. To tell you the truth, I'm not going to go into it because I don't know a whole lot about it. I just installed it. Let's check out the kernel that's running real quick, though. And we're on 412.0-11. So there you go. Now my plan is to keep this running in a virtual machine, and like I said, when updates come in, I read about new features, I will update this and I'll play with them, and then by the time I actually do full-length videos about this, which I do intend to do, I'm going to know a lot about it. Now, I'm not just looking at Ubuntu with GNOME, the default one. I'm also looking at, let me see if this thing's going to let me switch. Okay, here we go. You gonna let me do it? It gets hung up like this. Why does it do it? You're good. Out there, you guys are going, what's he doing, man? There we go. I got it to work. Yay, we switched to another virtual machine, which is running on another desktop. And this is Ubuntu MATE. Now, I realize that looks like Mate to a lot of you people out there who don't know the difference, but you see, the developers of this particular desktop, they call it MATE for their own weird reasons, and I'm just going to do what they do because I like those people. And if you don't like it, well, you can call it whatever you want. I don't care if you call the desktop George, but every time that I mention Ubuntu MATE in a video, somebody has to say something about it, so I'm going to address it now. Anyway, this is of course, what GNOME 2 was forked into, was the MATE desktop. And the Ubuntu MATE distribution is an official spin of Ubuntu that features the MATE desktop. And this has actually been installed for a while. This is also 1710, and this is run particularly well. I've done exactly the same thing. I just keep updating this thing every now and again and checking in on it. If I read something, I come and check it out. And I did take Firefox off of here, and I put Chrome on there. I will probably check out Firefox once again when we get to like version 57, because I've heard there's going to be a big UI change and a lot of other changes. But Firefox in its current state right now, no, I don't need it. I don't even have a copy. You know, for a while there, I had a copy of Firefox running, like where I had just downloaded it and then put it in my home directory. But I don't even do that. I've got no use for it at this point. So this is what happens in a virtual machine when you open the welcome screen in Ubuntu 17.10. I have an NVIDIA card in this computer. It seems to have something to do with the NVIDIA card and the VirtualBox driver or whatever. It's a known bug and it doesn't work. So I can't show you the welcome screen and I can't show you the software boutique because the boutique works on that as well. It's the same sort of thing. I don't know. Let's see if this software boutique works. Where do they hide that anyway? It's not in preferences. Let's see. Synaptic Package Manager. It would seem that would be here. Software Updater. Software Boutique. See, I can't make it work. It works on the same thing. So that's something you guys with the Ubuntu MATE project you might want to take a look at. I don't know what that is, but it doesn't work. But other than that, everything else in here works really well. This is the traditional desktop layout. And of course, the wonderful thing about Ubuntu MATE, and yeah, while I'm here, I'm going to show you, because if you ain't seen it before, this is so cool. And it's something that I just love. So if we go to look and feel here, and I go to MATE tweak, and then I go down to, let's see, where is it? Yeah, let's see, it's in here. Go to panels. All right. So now I can change my desktop theme, and we have this one. It's called Contemporary. Let's see what it looks like. Go ahead and change it. We have the new Brisk menu there, which comes from Ike Dougherty at the Solus Project. So this is like, you know, the old GNOME 2 with a little bit of an update and a more modern menu. By the way, the Brisk menu is awesome. And let's see, what else do we have to look at? We have this one called Cupertino. And the Cupertino layout, it kind of sort of looks like Mac, doesn't it? It looks like OS 10. And it uses a program down here called Plank, which provides a dock And we get the brisk menu up there. It's nice. Let's see, what else do we have here? Let's look at Mutiny. For those of you who like the Unity desktop experience and you don't want to run GNOME 3, well, look at this. It looks, kind of acts a lot like the old Unity desktop, except instead of a dash, we've got the brisk menu. And we got places. Let's see what else we got. Anything worth looking at here? Netbook. Redmond. Now, Redmond is supposed to give you kind of like a feeling that you're running a Windows-based type system. It kind of reminds me of like maybe old Windows XP. So it opens this, and then we get this advanced menu, which is the MATE Mint menu there from way back. So that kind of sort of reminds you of a Microsoft type experience. So far we've looked at 3 menus in this already, and then you can change this layout any way you want to, and when you do, you can save it and it'll be on the list. So that is awesome. Now I just put it, where did I have it when I first booted this up? I think I had it on traditional. So let me go ahead and put that back the way I had it. There's traditional. Yes, please change it. And so there you go. It's a look at Ubuntu Mate 17.10, and there's supposed to be a lot of cool changes in here as well. Now, as I learn more about this and as I play with it, then I will do some videos on these here distributions, these new distributions of Linux. Thanks for watching the vid, gang. I certainly do appreciate it. We'll have much more to talk about here as time rolls on, especially with Ubuntu getting geared up for 17.10. 17.10 is so important because there are so many cool changes. I'll give you a for instance of a change in Ubuntu right here. So what we're going to do is go ahead and we'll close the terminal. Let me just go ahead and... Alright, so I full screen this terminal just so that's the only thing you see. And then I'm going to go ahead and get out of that. And I want to make the text a little bit bigger. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, let's go to the root directory. Okay, list the storage. And then you see we have this here that's in here. It says swap file. Okay, so what does that mean? Ubuntu no longer creates a swap partition. It creates a swap file, and it uses its own algorithm to figure out how big that file should be. And this is important because when you're dealing with SSDs, there are a lot of people who don't want to set aside a huge amount of space for a swap partition. And so it creates a swap file. And that is something that, when did they start doing that? I think it was 1610 that this happened. Maybe 1704? 1704, I think, is when they started doing that. So that's a new little wrinkle in Ubuntu. Now, the size of the swap file, they use an algorithm. They look at how much memory you have. They look at how much hard drive space you have. And then they create this file, and it's tuned to the system. And it's usually not like what it is now, because the current algorithm is that when the swap file is created, it creates a swap partition as big as the amount of memory you have installed in the computer, plus a little bit more. The beauty part about using a file over a partition is you can resize that any way you want to go. And it's also quite easy to add swap files. So let's say that you have one that's, for some reason or other you need more swap, which with the amount of memory in most computers these days, you don't really need all that much swap. But let's say that you wanted more for some reason. You could just resize the file, or you could create another file. It's so cool. It's very, 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 very flexible. And as a matter of fact, and I don't want that terminal. Let me get back out here. I want this terminal. I'm trying to get the terminal from the host to open up. There we go. This is the host machine that all of this is running on. So if we take a look at free, and make that humanly readable, you'll see right now we're sucking up a lot of memory, and I have a 3 gigabyte swap space for this big computer that I'm using. Well, that swap space is in a swap file. I'm running Ubuntu 16.04, so I had to do this manually. I just let it install without a swap file, and then once I got it installed, I went ahead and set it up myself. I've got a video up on how to do that, but the beautiful thing is that now Ubuntu does this automatically, and it's a more efficient use of space for SSDs and even spinning drives. That's my opinion, of course. If you need to have a swap partition, you go right ahead. Now with Linux Mint still has the hibernate function running, okay? And it won't work with a swap file. I've tried it. So Linux Mint creates a swap partition, and they may choose to change that when Linux Mint 19 comes along. But for right now, just let Linux Mint's installer do whatever you want it to do. But if you're running Ubuntu, you might want to opt for a swap file, which is just one little example of the multitude of little coolnesses that are coming in Ubuntu 17.10. It's well worth watching. And then when the long-term support release comes out, which is going to be 18.04, I think that's going to be a monster. And of course, because Ubuntu, there's so much that depends on it, it's going to be unbelievable. And if the alphas work, I mean, these alphas work wonderfully. I've had no issues with the alphas. And if they're working this good now, wow, once they get it perfected, I can't wait to see what they do. It's going to be really cool to watch. All right, thank you for watching the video. I certainly do appreciate it. As always, your feedback is welcome. Please be sure to give Easy Linux a like on Facebook. Also, check out easylinux.com and check out freedompenguin.com for lots of really cool stories about Linux. And thank you for watching. We shall do it again soon.